Hey guys, today we're playing some Horizon Chase Turbo. Now, the music in the menu screen of this game, it sort of reminds me of Las Vegas from Top Gear, but slowed down. Maybe it's a homage, I don't know, but I forgot who made that game. I know it was published by Kemco, but I don't know if it's the same developers and they're bringing it back as a homage to that game or not, but I don't know. Either way, this is a game I've kind of had in my Epic Games store backlog, so you could call this a games I got free on PC video, but I wanted to make this a topical video, so I'm gonna be playing some of this. And oh god, obviously there's DLC shit just shoved in because of course. Get this DLC for free, is it? Oh, it's free, and enjoy the Rookie series. Wonderful. We're gonna do the world tour. There's California, there's Brazil, there's Chile. We're gonna go to California. And yeah, we got San Francisco, there we go. Let's pick a car. That looks like a Viper. We're picking that. Right. The off-licensed Viper, the non-licensed Viper. Let's go. Oh crap. But yeah. Yeah, it's very much a homage to Top Gear. That's what this game is. Top Gear is Super Nintendo game. If you've ever played that game before, then you'll know what I'm talking about. A lot of people would say Road Rash, but I don't know. I prefer Top Gear. That's the one that I'm mostly familiar with. But either way, the topic I want to talk about in this video is sort of tied to this game in a way, because I want to be talking about modern gaming. I know it's something that you never really hear me talk about, but you see, given the fact that I am a cynical gamer and I anti-modern gaming, and we all know that I've bitched and moaned and ranted about modern gaming to death, and I've talked about how shit modern gaming is many times. I think everybody who knows me knows my stance on modern gaming and why I think it sucks. And if you're watching this video as a subscriber of my channel, you already know that. But if you've never watched my videos before and you're not subscribed to my channel, then you should know that I hate modern gaming. I fucking do. I despise modern gaming. But, as with everything, there's always nuance to everything. And even things that you love, there's also things that you can dislike about them. For example, the booby trap treasure chests in Valve Profile 2, I hate them. And obviously the fact that they nerf mages, you know? So, everything has positives and negatives, you know? And the thing about it is that while there's a lot of negatives in regards to modern gaming, there's a lot of negatives, there's a lot of problems with modern gaming, and there's a lot of things I hate about modern gaming because, well, and overall I despise modern gaming with a passion. But even so, there's still a positive side to modern gaming, and that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. And I wanted to play a modern game while I do it, and I was like, yeah, this might be a good opportunity. So, for those of you who have watched the channel, you've heard all of the stuff that I've complained about, as I say, but there's one thing that you'll know about me if you've been watching my channel a lot, and that's that I usually don't really like games that feature puzzles. Now, here's the thing. One of the good things about modern gaming that wasn't a thing back in the day is that if you get stuck on a puzzle nowadays, then you can just basically use a guide, and there's tons of guides out there to help you get past the section in the game. It's a lot easier to get help playing a game nowadays than it used to be because of guides and stuff that you can find online. And I'd say the internet is a big part of the positive side of modern gaming because of guide availabilities. Availability. Guides back in the day you had to pay for. Either that or you had to get a magazine, which usually came with a walkthrough in it or something, or a guidebook or something. And yeah, that's how you used to get guides. And nowadays, it's a little bit different because you can just get them for free anywhere. Because we live in an era where information is basically free because of the internet. You used to have to pay for that, people. And yeah, that's most of the reason why I used to get gaming magazines, just simply for that information and demo discs, because of course. You know, everyone wants a good demo disc. Yeah. Need to get ahead. This is proving to be quite tricky, this. Yeah, I'm using all my fucking nitros here to get ahead here. Gotta get a decent score at least. Right, let's get second. We got second, there's first position, or we're not gonna get first. We got second though, that's not bad. But yeah, that's one of the positive sides of modern gaming. The fact that you can actually like figure out what to do pretty easily because there's so much help out there for you. And if you're struggling with a game, then it's a lot easier because games nowadays are easier. Like back in the day, if you were playing like a game back in the day, they were usually kind of brutal. I mean, not all of them were. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, gaming's gotten so easy now, it's for pussies, and you know, it's easy mode now, everything's easy mode. But that wasn't, like, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily the case that all games were easy that all games were hard back then. There were still quite a lot of easy games back in the day. I mean, just look at the Kirby series, for example. There's a lot of Kirby games that are really easy. I mean, Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land, like particularly like Kirby's Dream Land, unless you count the extra mode, was pretty freaking easy, let's be honest. And you know, you have games like Grandia 2, which is a cakewalk in my opinion. I mean, I know a lot of people disagree. That's fine, I understand that, you know, like everybody, some people might find that hard, I get that. We all experience difficulty differently. But for me, I had an easy time just simply because you can just exploit the freaking critical system and all of that lot. And once you knew how the game works, you could really take advantage of things and create the game easy. Now, obviously, there were hard games back in the day, but there's also hard games today. It's just that the way that difficulty is handled now is more exaggerated than anything, because like nowadays, like difficulty it's kind of handled in a way that is just terrible, and a lot of people don't like how they handle it. And it's not necessarily the difficulty that is the problem. It never was. A lot of people don't like modern games and like Soulsborne games just simply because of how they, not the difficulty, but just how the games are designed, and how they're just designed around being hard aside from just being fun, and they don't like how it's designed. That's the reason why a lot of people hate Soulsborne. I mean, I have another reason for hating Soulsborne, and that's the fact that they throw a lot of booby traps in them and other stuff. But the thing is that that's why a lot of people hate them. That's why a lot of people hate Soulsborne games. But either way, oh yeah, that's all San Francisco. Sequoia National Park. I'm not American, so you can't blame me for this, guys. But that's the first positive about modern gaming. Now, there's quite a lot of other positive, well, as I say, there's a lot more negatives, but there are a few other positive sides to modern gaming. One of them being the fact that we now have the ability to essentially play all of our games on PC for the most part. There are exceptions. I'm talking about freaking Vanillaware. Yeah, those bellends. I used to like Vanillaware a lot. I used to do. You know, back when they, as I say, Odin Sphere Legacy is one of my favorite games of all time. Now I don't like Vanillaware because they refuse to release their games on PC. I mean, my opinion can change. I can like them again, but I don't like them right now because they refuse to release games on PC, and that pisses me off. It's just like, you know, it's just like they think that we're demons or something, just simply because we play on a certain platform, you know what I mean? But for the most part, most games are available on PC now, so you have everything on one platform, and thanks to emulation, you can play classic games on PC as well, which is very convenient because everything's in one place. There's a lot of ways that you can like increase like the graphics and stuff on the old versions of games to make them look nicer, and you know, like you can use save states and all of that to make things more convenient. And it's easier to record because, as you can see, I'm recording on PC here. You can just record directly through OBS, so it's a lot easier. And like back in the day, you had to rely on consoles for most games that were like Japanese, especially. Unless it was a visual novel, you usually had to have a console to play on them. But nowadays, there's a lot more opportunity to like for PC gamers to experience lots of games. Back then, not as much. But the thing about it is that there aren't that many PC exclusives either. I'd say pretty much everywhere has access to a lot of games. And even indie games like this are available on other platforms like the Switch and stuff. So it's like you've got plenty of ways to play games now. You don't have to deal with like exclusivity as much as you used to. Although it still exists, unfortunately, because Nintendo are bellends. We've already talked about how Nintendo are bellends, but we're talking about positives, and because of that, I don't want to talk about Nintendo right now, because they don't represent what positivity is all about. They represent the negative side of gaming. Everything to do with Nintendo is negative. Everything. But that's why we don't want to talk about them right now. What I want to talk about is, I want to talk about other things that are more positive, like, well, what I'm playing right now. Horizon Chase Zero. Or Horizon Zero Chase, or I've forgotten what it's called already. Horizon Chase Turbo. I'm getting it confused with Horizon Zero Dawn, god damn it. I always do that. God damn it. Yeah. This game is a game that I got for free. I didn't pay a single penny for this game. I got it for free on Epic Games Store. Which brings me to my next positive about modern gaming, the fact that if you are a PC gamer like I am, you get the opportunity to get your hands on free games on certain platforms. Now, usually it's on Epic, but you can also get them on Steam, GOG, and yeah, pretty much anywhere. Like, you can get like access to free games just out of nowhere. Obviously, they usually have a limited time availability, but the thing is that if you keep on top of it, you can find yourself with a library full of games that you didn't have to pay for. There's even games that I had on my wish list that ended up coming out for free anyway, and I ended up getting them for free just simply because I waited and waited and waited, and eventually they were like, we'll just give it to you, you know? And then I ended up getting it, and like, this is one of those games. This is one of the games that I was like, oh, that looks cool. Maybe I'll play it. Nah. I was just like, it looks cool, but I'm not gonna. I didn't feel like buying it, and I was like, I don't really feel like I want to play it right now. I've got so many games in my backlog to play that, you know, like I don't really have time. You know, should I put the money down? Like, let's put it this way: buying a game, at least for me, is asking a lot. I've always got to ask myself, is it worth it? Is it worth the time investment? Is it worth like the money? And is it worth like, is it worth investing my time and money into the game? And is it a game I like? And what does this game do? And this is the important thing. What does this game do that other games do not? That's the question. You see what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of games that feel the same. I mean, this is basically just Top Gear on Super Nintendo again. You know, what does this do differently from like Top Gear on Super Nintendo? Not much. It's the same game, but just with better graphics, I guess, and more cars, I suppose, and I guess upgrades, and yeah, that's what it is. And I mean, it's okay for a homage to Top Gear, I guess. It isn't. That's basically all it really is, and it's not really anything else. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it's just like, you know, if you want me to spend money on your game, then I want something new, I want something fresh, I want something different. To some degree, I understand that games are derivative inherently, but I want to have like something to spice things up. And does this spice things up enough for me? Not really, but it does have some things that are improved, like the ability to like get fuel like from pickups instead of like having to go through a pit strip, which is better designed, to be honest. I'll give it that. But it's a very simple racing game still, fundamentally. It's very much at its core the same thing as Top Gear. So yeah, but it's still fun to play if I can get the game for free. But do you want me to buy the game? In which case, give me something a bit more fresh and different. Yeah? Give me something a little different at least. That's basically all I ask. I don't need it to be like freaking like Gitaroo Man or Doshin the Giant, or I mean even Valve Profile 2. I don't need it to be like that. I just need it to be somewhat different enough to make it enjoyable for me. That's basically it. But yeah, I could probably do better here, but because I'm talking, I'm not doing brilliantly. So yeah. Oh, we're in Chile. Or Chile. I don't know which one how you pronounce it, but I don't live in America. People remember that. You unlock new game mode, amateur tournament. Wonderful. And you unlock adventures. Wonderful. Let's go to Chile. Atacama. There we go. So yeah, like you get free games on PC, and this is one of many games that I got for free on PC. I mean, obviously, if you've been keeping up with my channel, you've seen that I got a lot of games for free on PC, and I've covered a few by now. Like, obviously, I want to maybe try more topical stuff because I think it's a bit more interesting than just like playing games I got for free on PC. You know what I mean? But yeah, like there's so many of them that it'd take me an entire lifetime to play them all. So yeah, but this is one of them. So yeah, I decided that I'd give this one a play today because it's been a long time coming for me to play this. So yeah, and honestly, like I think that part of the reason why we're getting all of these free games, and I know that I'm supposed to be talking about the positive side of the industry, but this is actually the negative side to it. It's not all good people. The reason why we're getting all these games for free is simply due to the fact that the value of games has dropped. Games just aren't good enough anymore to warrant purchasing. And they're oversaturated as well, so it's like, yeah, instead of like, and if you'll notice, a lot of these games that you get for free are indie games. Yeah, that should tell you all you need to know. Like, indie game developers, they know, they know that people aren't going to buy their games because why would they? They want to buy the mainstream AAA, so they can only afford one game, like, and they pick the AAA game, and they don't pick the indie game. So obviously, they're not going to want to buy the indie game, so they just give it to them for free because it's like, well, we just want people to experience that game. We just want exposure so that people know our games, and the more people that play our games, the better because we get more exposure, you know. And they're that desperate that they just give them away for free, and you know, and I guess that's kind of why, at least that's why I'm guessing. But it's good for us because we get free games, but it sucks for them. But at the same time, it just goes to show that the value of games has dropped. And as the value of games has dropped, it shows that really we're, like, for the games that we do pay for, like, is it really worth the money to pay for these games when we have so many games like this given to us for free? Why spend our money on games in general when we just wait and just get them for free? Because that's the thing, this industry is built upon people's impatience. And if people aren't impatient and people don't jump on the trends, then they get rewarded by getting games for free. But if they jump on the trends, then it costs them a lot of money. Like, I saw recently, like, Dynasty Warriors Origins released, and the price of that game, I kid you not, is $64.99 in pounds, which is around $80. No fucking joke. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who would pay that for a Muso? I'm sorry, but I mean, asking full price for a Muso is asking too much if you ask me. Like, Muso games are worth 20 quid tops, usually. That's what I would value them at. I value them around 20 quid. For 20 quid, if you're picking up a Muso, you're getting your money's worth. I'll tell you that for a fact. I mean, but for freaking $64.99, no. That's just ridiculous. Like, no. It's not worth it for that, and it never will be. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's really worth it for, like, other games. Like, I wouldn't say it's worth it for, like, £40. But, yeah, like, freaking $64.99, like 65 quid. That's ridiculous. Oh, shit. Fuck that one up, didn't I? Oh, well. Like, that's just stupid. Like, that's just stupid pricing. Like, seriously. Freaking Koei Tecmo, stop being greedy gits, you know? You really are greedy motherfuckers at Koei Tecmo, aren't they? But it's just like, you know... Like... I'm getting into the negatives. I can't help it, people. I'm Cynical Gaming Blog. I'm getting into the fucking negatives again, but yeah. But yeah, that it is good that we do get these free games nonetheless, even if it means that it hurts the indie market. Well, they chose to put them there. They chose to give them away for free, so at least we can do the decency of actually playing the games. They can't complain about it, you know what I mean? So the next positive thing about modern gaming is no region lock. Now, this is a big one for people who like their JRPGs and Japanese games, because, like, if you are a fan of, like, Japanese games, and I know I am, then you'll know that, especially if you live in the UK, we didn't really get many Japanese games, as a lot of them were never released over here. Like in the UK, we missed out on so much. Like we missed out on Radiata Stories, we missed out on Xenosaga, Xenogears, Xenosaga 3. We got 2 though, which is kind of an insult really in a way, because it's just like we got the second one, but not the first and the third, because fuck you. And you know, we didn't get Chrono Cross, we didn't get freaking Suikoden 3. We didn't get a lot of games basically. We missed out on so many games, and we didn't even get like Final Fantasy until Mystic Quest. And then eventually we started to get drip-feeded like the Final Fantasy games as ports on like the other systems, like not on, as ports on like the PS1, yeah. And basically as I say, there's other games as well that we never got, and there's a lot of games that Americans never got either. I mean, they never got the Sword of Eteria, which we did. They never got Swords of Destiny, which we did. They never got Demon Chaos, which we did. So there are a few, but obviously we got a lot. We missed out on a lot more than America did. And obviously Japan has a lot of games that never came out over here, like Growlancer 6. And obviously there's other ones like Star Ocean Blue Sphere, for example. The original Star Ocean, for one, like until first departure, like it didn't get localized. So yeah, like there's a lot of games we missed out on because of that. And yeah, but thanks to having no region lock nowadays, we can enjoy games from all regions. And that means that we can, if we want to import, we can. And we can play them on our system without having to deal with all the bullshit of having it from a different region. Of course, you still have to deal with the language barrier and all of that, but honestly, like, if the game, like, I don't think that it's a huge deal. Like if you're getting, like, if you're playing like a JRPG, yeah, but if you're not, then you don't really need to pay much attention to it. So yeah. But obviously, if you're playing a JRPG, you're going to miss out on the story, but I mean, if the combat's good, then maybe it's not going to be an issue. But yeah, let's go to Santiago. So yeah, that's the next one. So The next one is a big one, and this has to do with purchasing video games. Now, back in the day, if you wanted to buy a video game, obviously you could get gaming magazines which will tell you what's coming out. You didn't have like the internet which like throws this information in your face 24/7. You had to actually go out and find that information to find out what's coming out, and you have to pay for the privilege. You don't anymore, which I suppose is a positive in itself, because paying for information is never fun, but at the same time the negative side of that is that the information is thrown in our face 24/7 now, and you can't escape from it as long as you're on the internet, which sucks. But the good news is that we don't have to pay for that information now. But the other good news is that back in the day, if you saw a game in like a magazine, and I've actually experienced this before, there's several games that I've discovered through magazines, like Baten Kaitos, for example, and Beautiful Joe, even though I ended up not really being the biggest fan of Beautiful Joe. I noticed that through a magazine. I also played the demo of Legend of Dragoon on the PlayStation 1 demo disc, and for the longest time I wanted to find these games, but I never could because they weren't in my local stores. So I could never find a copy of these games that I've been looking for my whole life. But then the internet became a thing, and suddenly I could go online and buy the game. Granted, by that point it inflated in price a ton, and eventually I managed to find a copy. And yeah, I managed to finally own a copy of Legend of Dragoon after all these years, and I was able to carry on after the demo. And I eventually managed to get Baten Kaitos, and yeah, it became one of my favorite JRPGs. And yeah, like, we don't have to deal with the fact that if our local store doesn't have it, we can't get it anymore. Now we can just we just basically pay the money. Yes, that sometimes means that we have to pay more, but now we don't have to deal with that. We can just go and get whatever game we want. And in a way, that is definitely a positive side to modern gaming. And the final one that I want to talk about, I mean, it's both a positive and a negative, because in a way, games back in the day, they rarely had this problem anyways, because they had to be complete. They had to be bug free at launch, you know? If they didn't get it right the first time, it would never be right. But there are situations where they didn't get it right the first time. Look at Star Wars Until the End of Time. They had to release a director's cut version to fix issues with the game. Now, the thing is that nowadays we now get access to patches and updates. Now, I know that DLC is usually considered a negative thing, but there are cases where games do give us free updates and free DLC. It's rare, but it does happen sometimes where we will get free content for a game that wouldn't be a thing had it not been for DLC. So that is a positive thing, and getting patches for games and stuff like that, and support for games like years after their release, is a positive thing. The only negative thing about it is that because of DLC, it's opened up a floodgate for greed. And now game publishers are taking advantage of that, full advantage of it, mind you, and now they're just utilising it due to the fact that they feel that they have to do that. Instead of making games better, they have to increase the prices through other means. Like, that's the thing. I get that inflation's a thing, but you'd think that games would get better, and the thing is, they're not. They're not getting better. They're not getting better enough to justify the price. They need to be constantly improving, and they're not. And that's why it's not worth the money to buy these games, because they're not constantly improving, and they should be. They should be, but they're not. They're not getting better, and that's the problem. That is ultimately the problem with all of this stuff, you know? But ultimately, that's basically all I have to say about the positive side of modern gaming. Accessibility is better than ever, and like as I say, it's not all bad. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all later when next time I won't be talking about positive stuff. I'll probably be talking about something negative again because I'm Cynical Gaming Vlogs. So yeah, see you guys.